Hello, in this video I'll be talking about functions. A function is similar to that machine at an amusement park where you put in a penny and you turn the handle and it kind of flattens your penny out and puts a picture on it. A function is an equation that does that same sort of thing. And so here's an equation where we have input minus 5 equals output. So the input is any number that we decide we want to put in this machine or this function. So for instance, if we put in the number 50, then we will subtract 5 from it and the output would be 45. If we input the number 40, the output would be 35. If we input the number 30, the output would be 25. And if we input the number 20, our output would be 15. So this equation is a function, and what it does is it takes a number that you put into it and it spits out a different number, kind of like the penny coming out of the machine at the amusement park. Now I start by talking about input and output because those words make sense. In mathematics we actually use independent variable and dependent variable. So the input we call the independent variable x, and the output we call the dependent variable y. So rather than writing output equals input minus 5, we would write something like y equals x minus 5. And rather than putting input here, it would be x. And instead of output, we would write y. The output is called the dependent variable because it depends on what you put in. In real-life situations or story problems in mathematics, it's often easy to determine which thing that is in the problem is the independent variable and which thing is the dependent variable. For instance, the time you spend studying for a test and the score you get are the two things we're going to talk about here. So time spent studying and your test score. Well, often the score you get on a test depends on how much time you spent studying. So for instance, let's say you expect to get a 60% on a test if you studied for no time at all. But if you for each hour you study, so we could say hours hours studied, you expect to get 5% more on the test. So you can say hours studied times 5 plus 60 equals score. Right? So if you study for 0 hours, multiply that by 5, so 0 plus 60, you feel like, okay, I'll get 60% on this test if I don't study. But if I study an hour, I'll get 65. Or if I study 2 hours, I'll get 70. So in this case, score is the dependent variable. Hours studied would be the independent variable. And you could say x times 5 and then plus 60. The 5 and the 60 I made up, obviously. That had nothing to do with the words of the problem. And so what if we were at a convenience store and we were hungry, we had a sweet tooth, we wanted to buy some candy bars, and so the two variables here would be candy bars bought and money spent. Okay, so certainly the amount of money you spend is going to depend on how many candy bars you buy. So the money is going to equal, let's say candy bars costs $1.50, so equals candy bars times 1.5. So in this case, the money that you spend depends, that's the dependent variable, upon the amount of candy bars times $1.50 or 1.5. And so if you bought 4 candy bars, So I don't know why I put a dot and the. So 4 times 1.5, you would spend $6. Okay, and so you can see how you can identify the dependent and independent variable based on the story that's given. Let me do one more example. So imagine that we are selling Rice Krispie treats at the bake sale for 50 cents each, and we need to write an equation or a function that shows how much money we will make, and then we're going to make a chart showing different possibilities. Okay, so in this case we have we're selling Rice Krispie treats, and so the amount of money we make is going to equal how many Rice Krispie treats we sell. So treats sold times the cost per treat. So if we sell one treat, we're going to make 50 cents, right? So the treats sold times 50, or 0.5 for cents, or for dollars, equals the money we make. And so we can label our chart here. Whoops. And so we could say that the money is our dependent variable, treats sold is independent, and the 0.5 that we're multiplying by there. And so we can say that this is X, or we could also say treats sold. Do something like that. And then we could say money made, and we call that Y. So if we sell 10 treats, we're going to make $5. If we sell 20 treats, we'll make $10. If we sell, I don't know, 25 treats, we'll make $12.50. Or if we sell 100 treats, we would make $50. All right? So that's how you would set up something like that. Remember, it's just an equation or a function that helps us solve a problem involving a dependent and independent variable. Thanks for watching.